It's Sunday night. It's 8 o'clock. Welcome to All Lacrosse Live in our post-CBA show. Told y'all we have a CBA. Yeah. Anyways, we got a great show for you tonight. We're going to talk CBA. We're going to be talking free agency because there has been 1,000 signings since the CBA has come in there. It'll take us all night just to tell you everybody who's gone everywhere. And we have a special guest with us. Quinn McLaughlin's back with us to talk about the summer that he had and all the events that he was at. But, of course, before we get rolling, let me just remind everybody that all of our shows are streamed live across Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and also Instagram Live. Remember to hit the subscribe, follow, and like buttons. Always share. Please enjoy our affiliates across the Stream Punk Entertainment Network, like Fly Like an Eagle, Stream Punk Cinema, Stream Punk Combat, soccer shows, football shows, as well as CFL shows, and the playoffs are starting. Also, you can catch all the shows on YouTube, and if you missed any at all, go to Stream Punk Sports, Stream Punk Lacrosse, Stream Punk Combat, Stream Punk Cinema, and of course, all across all the time. And if you come to us, please share. Please tell everybody about us. Also, you can catch our library of shows, interviews, as well as retro games, fights, and press conferences. Much, much more coming all the time. Remember, you can stay up to date with all sports by visiting streampunkentertainment.com with great articles from our huge staff of contributors. Also, a reminder that our show is brought to you by 60. 60 is more than just a number. 60 is Canada's newest and most exciting sports uniform and teamwear brand, delivering top quality uniforms and teamwear that reflect the spirit and identity of each team. Their commitment to innovation and excellence sets them apart, ensuring that every customer experiences the perfect blend of style and functionality. Unleash your greatness with 60. Add Lax Talk 10 for a 10% discount on your order. How to get there? Number one is use the QR code that is in the center of your screen, or you can catch them on Instagram at sweet_60. You can catch them in email at info.sweet60@gmail.com, or go on to their website at www.sweet60.ca/60. All right, without further ado, allow me to bring on our guest, Mr. Quinn McLoughlin. Quinn, how you been?
I'm good. How are you?
Great, thanks. You have had yourself a busy summer. This is the best way to get noticed, best way to get learning, best way to move things forward. Talk to me a little bit about how busy your summer was.
I think I had 36 games over the couple last months since I've been on. Been on Montana, Seals, U.S. Boxla, went to Ohio, all over the place.
That's crazy. That's great, though. Tell me, are you openly looking for these things, or are they starting to send invitations for you to come join them?
I'm always looking. Always.
Right. Definitely. Hey, Eduardo's with us. Hey, good to have you, Eduardo. From beautiful St. Augustine, Florida. And Big Hog Hockey, thank you so much for being with us. Alrighty, well, let's break this down a little bit. I actually put together a little montage of clips of just some saves and things. The thing that I noticed here is your positioning is getting better and better every time I see you. And you are, our gentle giant is what you are. You know, you're looking smaller in the screen there, but my God.
Check it out.
Yeah, something I've noticed is your positioning is really great now. So you're not caught any times. So you've obviously been working hard.
Yeah, you could say that.
Let's start off with Montana. Right, you small field, super fast, 4 runners and a goalie. Super hot in Montana, I believe, in the summer. That's a whole new experience too, even from San Diego, which to me is living on the sun here in Canada, right? But you get asked to play for an American team, and then you go and beat all the Canadians and become the MVP of the tournament. Talk to me about the experience.
I mean, it was great. Tons of fun. Pretty good competition. I really wasn't expecting like the super quick transition, but it was still pretty fun.
Right. Well, 8 wins in 8 games. I'd say that's pretty good stats. He's still a little modest, you know. He'll get over that one. So, when you first joined into that thing, what were your expectations, or did you have any?
I was just expecting what I was told. Smaller field, and that was it.
Right. Does that mean more shots? Does it mean better shots? Does it mean worse shots? Does it mean just things from anywhere?
It means like more shots, but since the shots are, they have to be closer in, right? And so that means that they're better, I'd say. So it's better for the shooters, at least, not for me.
Higher percentage.
Yeah.
So now you know what a Sixers goalie is going to go through just without equipment.
Pretty much.
Can't wait to see what they look like at the end of the game. God. However, something interesting. We had talked about instead of a 6x6 for 6 is a 4x4. And Bob Tearing brought this to my attention, of course, Hall of Fame NCAA coach. And goes, if we do a 4x4 with the shooters that we have who are so pinpoint accurate, we're going to kill the poor goalie because everything will be right around his body, whether it's in or not. And 6x6, at least they're trying to pick corners. They're not trying to pick him apart. So, yeah, it might be better to maybe save a few of the goalies for other days. I would never have thought about that as a non-goalie. But let's go into the SEALs shootout stuff, and let's talk about that for a little bit. But over in California, you played 6 games over there, 3 games under 15, and 3 games under 17. Now, did they realize that you were, not under, for the ages, or did they just, whatever? He can do it. He can do it.
Yeah, that's basically what they said.
That's not bad. Now you pulled off 6 wins, 3-3. Not bad. Now, is this a smaller event, local, or?
Yeah, it's local teams. I think there was 3 teams for each age group, the SEALs and then 2 others.
Right. Now, do you like these smaller home events, or would you rather be doing the bigger things and traveling?
Well, I like the home events because, I get to sleep in my own bed at the end of the night, but the away tournaments are still fun.
Right. Is there a difference in your prep?
No, not really.
Yeah.
It's all the same.
Right. Now, Western and San Jose, let's talk about that a little bit. USA versus Canada. So it's like a one-off? Is it just more of that to come, or?
I think it was a one-off. I'm pretty sure.
Right.
Could be.
Now, I say, do they have a cup that gets traded back and forth between Canada and US, or,
No, it was just bragging rights.
It's good enough. Maybe get you a medal or something like that, or, it's over that. But, traveling all over the place, you get recognized? Our team's starting to take a notice in you that, that McLoughlin kid's over there again. Look out.
Yeah, it's not really like my face or my name. It's more my helmet. They see the helmet and they go, "Oh, it's that kid." So.
You being 6'1", more or less. It's that kid. Yeah, look way up. The Canadian. Isn't that right, Shawn? Friendly giant.
Yep. Oh yeah. You and I are probably the ones to get that reference, but
Now that's with Dave McWhorter. Talk about Dave for a little bit and playing for him.
I mean, he's an awesome coach. I would love to play more for him. I really like his coaching strategy. Just kind of leave the goalies to do their job.
Right. Did I get him right? Is that him?
Yep.
Yeah, that's Dave there. All right. Now you also had a chance to play with Xander. Yeah,
Yes.
Xander Elliott. So talk about that for a tandem. Look at the amount of effort and amount of work between the two of these guys. I say US Box is in pretty good hands with you and Xander. So like working with Xander.
Pretty good. It's
Yeah.
just like working with any other goalie. Good experience all around.
Is it in the genes? Does he have some of Dad's style in him?
I would say, yeah, he plays a lot like his dad.
Does he? Yeah, a lot of reflex, a lot of using stick to advantage. Right.
Just back and forth, real fast, faster than me.
Right. Well, there's something you can work on with him. You have all the other things down pat, and you've got your positioning down pat. You've got all your other things as being a big goalie. But if you can get that motion down, I'd say you're an unstoppable commodity down the stretch here. All right, let's talk about working with Cam Holding, Junior Seals under 15. Let's talk about that for a little bit. And of course, you've worked a lot with Cam. Let's talk about this summer and working with him.
There's nothing bad to say. I love Cam. Yeah, I love playing with him at least. Now,
you guys only took 8 runners to this thing, and you made the finals. That's a testament to the number one, the work effort from all of you guys, but just the talent level, because that's grueling. With 8 runners, I watched a few guys in Fan Cup come down there with teams of 7 and 8, and these guys were gassed 10 minutes into the game, right? Game 1. I watched that poor Saskatchewan team at the President's Cup, who came with 10 runners, and they were gassed a couple of minutes into every single game too. For you guys to go and make the finals, that is huge. Talk about the team itself. Now, obviously, you've come up with a bunch of these guys, so you know them well, and they know you. So there's a lot of trust in there. But just in the skill level as you guys have gotten further up, obviously you guys are going to keep moving up to, U17, U19, and work up from there. But just the team in general. Talk about the camaraderie.
I mean, I think it's wonderful. Everyone for past 3 or 4 years have played with each other, basically summer, winter, and then on their field teams. Could be a little bit better in the locker room, but otherwise on the field and outside, it's like awesome.
Right. This used to be the Nationals, right?
In San Jose?
Yeah.
Yes. It then moved to Ohio.
Okay. Got it. Now, you travel all over the place. When I travel, and one of my favorite things, of course, in all the different cities and different countries, is bumping into people who I know and I get to see from a distance or message with, but I get face to face. Do you have a lot of friends in all the other teams that you're running into now, or you're starting to gain a big Rolodex, so to speak?
Well, at least on the teams on the Western United States and a little bit up in Vancouver, I know a couple guys on each team.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't say that much for any like eastward teams or anything like that, but I know some people.
See that? Another goalie there. You're starting to get a fan base out here. You're going to start to rival Mike Cooper for how many times he get on his show. He's up around 6 or 7, so we got a few more opportunities. But the younger he is. Anyways, how is the facility in San Jose?
The Plex, it's wonderful. I like that a lot. It's maybe my favorite, fields.
Right. What sets it apart, you think?
It's big. There's locker rooms, tons of space. There's, you're not shuffling around people, crowding around.
Right. How about the field itself?
there's 4 fields, and so the 2 of them that they play on most of the time is like a roller hockey,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's kind of tough to adapt to, playing on turf and then going on to roller hockey, but it's still pretty good.
Right. Now, do you have a routine when you start doing these things? Favorite places to stay, favorite places to eat? I know Dad has a lot to say in this, but of course, I'm sure at this stage of the game, you have some input as well.
Yeah, in San Jose and in a lot of like other places that I travel to, we always find like at least one good Chinese restaurant, and we just eat at that place like 4 out of the 5 days that we stay.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Excellent.
That's great. Now, let's talk a little bit about this All-Star series that you were in. West versus Northeast versus East. Explain the concept of this All-Star tournament. Each region's All-Star team, and then you just battle it out to see who's the best. And
Yeah, I mean, to basically put it all out there, it's West versus Northeast versus East.
right, it's a round robin kind of idea, and then
Yeah, so we each play the other team once, and
Mhm.
then the final 2 teams duke it out at the end.
right. You went to Vancouver with this team as well?
Yes.
Wow. And you played the Canadians in San Jose, so obviously you were well prepared for what you were going to be facing, right?
Yeah. Very.
Wow. I'm tired already, man, and we're only about halfway through. It's wild. Did you spend any time at home?
Uh,
Or just enough to do the laundry and go back out again, right?
yeah.
Pretty much. It's got to be grueling, though, all this travel and really short turnarounds. That doesn't give you a whole lot of recoup time.
Well, I mean, that's what's happening right now. I'm, in between, winter season and summer, it's kind of just like going up to Orange County, once a weekend and then relaxing.
Right. All right, let's head off to the Ohio Nationals because we haven't done enough traveling yet. And here you are on U17. Again, you just kind of hid the birth certificate and said, that's it. I'm 6'1". I'm as old as you want me to be. Coaches Brendan Gorman and David Cormack. Let's talk about the team working for them.
It was different. They coached in a different way than I'm used to. 2 goalies, which they do on US Box Law, but they were just like a bit more hands-on in the goalieing and transition and defense.
Right. This was probably the most challenging, I think, tournament for you. 14 goals given up and 60 shots, 76%. That was way below what your averages are on all the other ones, but adversary, but it builds strength through character. But it's also, again, it's a U17. So it's, guys who are bigger, stronger, faster. And this is what you need to see if you want to advance. So these aren't trip ups. These are actually things to help build your game and build character. Let's talk about facing, the tougher, quicker shots and your adjustment along the way.
Going from U15 to U17, I wasn't expecting, how like goalies stick out their hand to block the shot. Usually that doesn't hurt, but at this tournament, there are a couple shooters that were just knocking my gloves off.
Right. And your adjustments were?
Play through it.
Use your
Yeah.
arm.
Yeah, arm.
We want to keep all of the digits there. We need them for other things. It's tough to throw long passes when you don't have a bottom hand. I've watched it. It's not pretty. It's not pretty. Now, obviously, there are some challenges in there, but the mindset of being in the middle of this thing and the mental toughness. Do you find yourself getting more Well, it's just more like an etch-a-sketch. We start over. You can't let anything linger. Do you find it much easier to just kind of eliminate that and move on?
Yeah, I mean, I try to be like a goldfish, 5-second memory.
Yep.
But doesn't always happen. It's been, better, but
That's growing though. That's called, maturing into the position. And I don't see a problem with that. It's from way back when. I'm sure that if we looked at tapes from before, you've come a long way already, and the best is yet to come. Obviously, you're a big team guy. It's not all about stats and things like that. How do you keep everybody else focused? Are you a vocal leader, since you're the one calling switches? Are you a vocal enough leader to get everybody on the same page?
Well, in most teams, most of the time I am. Sometimes they just get out of hand. Can't really do anything. Just got to focus on myself. But most of the time I'm like trying to help organize everything.
Right. Again, you're the guy calling switches, so you're basically controlling defense, transition, any of that thing. So, they can call themselves, we're C's and A's, but really we know who's controlling most of this stuff. Let's talk about Utica. I love that place. God, I love that place. I love the 4 rinks. I love the big arena next door attached and everything to do with it. And of course, we had in the main event, we had, of course, had Mike and the Rochester Bats repeat with an NLL team. I was originally supposed to be up there, but some work conflicts kept me back. But let's talk about it and playing there for your first Laxney tournament at U17. Pitts Kings. What was your initial impressions coming in, and how did that grow as the thing went along?
Well, initial kind of idea is I wasn't, expecting like the type of culture shock. There was a lot of more Indigenous players on the team,
Yeah.
and I just wasn't, used to the kind of shift in culture.
Also, style facing different kinds of shots, because it's a whole different breed up in Six Nation and up in Onondaga.
Yeah. I was kind of expecting the same type of situation as, a U.S. Boxer tournament. I knew it was going to be bigger, but, after that first day, I was just like, geez, I've never seen a riser, go low, like right under my shoulder right there.
Yeah. Now, remember, a lot of these guys, they were born with a stick in the crib. And this is their whole life. So these are the guys. If you really want to go on a pilgrimage, this is down the road a little bit, is to come up east one summer and do summer ball on Six Nations in Canada, or in the Can-Am or whatever, and Senior B, whatever, and do with Onondaga with the Red Hawks or something like that, to try and get in with there in one of their programs and really learn the game the way it is, shall we say, supposed to be played, because it's a whole different culture shock from what U.S. Boxer is going to give you. As you've figured out, I'm sure there's a big difference from Montana to Onondaga.
Yeah.
Now, another question for you. Are you coming back to Toronto so I can see you live play again? It's been a couple of years since I've seen you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any tournaments up there. The only thing I could really think of is the junior NLL.
Right.
But the Seals haven't been there for 2 years. So, could happen soon. Maybe another team will pick me up, but I don't know.
Time to get on that phone. See what other teams. It's a great tournament too. So, yeah. I know Nick Rose gets excited every time he has to reset the track for the tournament. So, ironically, a couple of years ago, he was coming on the show and he had to postpone a week just because they had to get the thing ready for the tournament that weekend. So we had to postpone him a week. Orange County Box League. Let's talk a little bit about that in Rebels Lacrosse. Adam Guy is your high school varsity coach. Let's talk about that. And, you excel in this thing. Was it 13 goals and 148 shots, 91% save percentage? Those are astounding numbers. Let's talk about the program. Let's talk about Adam as a coach, and let's talk about the team.
Okay. In Orange County, I had 3 different teams so far. I played with the Bears, then I played with Beach Cities, and now I'm playing with the Rebels. Each team had a different type of coaching, but I think that Adam did a really good job recently at this season from what I saw.
Right.
It was good.
Now, is this club team or high school?
So it's a rec box team, but so it's like people from all different high schools. Me, and then everyone else is from J. Sarah, which is a high school up there.
Right. Now, being a multi-time champion in there, is it still challenging to you?
Well, I mean, everything's a challenge. You don't just put up zeros without it being challenging.
Right. But would you be using it towards working on different things or just go out and play?
Yeah, I mean, that tournament, over the 8 or so weeks, maybe more, I was just like working mainly on, low shots because I struggled with that at Lax Nye and in Ohio.
Right. Right. Now, do you spend more time helping other goalies kind of get up to your level now, or you're still concerned with your own stuff?
Well, I helped the 7-8 goalie. I tried to help the JV goalie as much as I could.
Right.
I couldn't go to all of his games.
Mm-hmm.
But if someone's coming up to me at that tournament and asking me a question about goaling, I'm gonna help them out.
Sure. What kind of coaching style is your favorite? One that you would prefer, and one that you would teach if you are in that position?
Mainly when the only coach that's messing with the goalies is the goalie coach.
Mm-hmm.
Just put the goalie in the net and let him do his thing, unless he's making a catastrophic mistake.
Right. Now, you've gone to all these tournaments all over the place. Once you get back and do the local things again, is it hard to be, kind of, back in with the mix? You kind of have the rock star, you've been all over the place now. So,
well, I mean, I don't really see a reason to brag about any of the stuff that I do, because anyone could do it with enough hard work.
Right. You are a very, very, modest guy anyways. So I don't see you having an ego issue down the road or anything like that. I don't think it's part of your DNA, just to business. You remind me a lot of Mike Poulin, tell you the truth. Your positioning, your train of thought, your mental approach. So I think it's a pretty good company, I think. So I think you're well on the right track. What advice do you give to other goalies? What would you do if you want to get in and want to be a goalie?
If they have like a local team or like a men's league, if they're old enough, or, if there's a box, even, indoor soccer field at a YMCA or at a school, get a friend, someone who wants to shoot for a weekend, go over and just, shoot around for an hour. That's the best thing a goalie can do, is just get shots.
Right. You've already put in a ton of work. Are you seeking more opportunities, or are they you're waiting for them to come around? Are you actively approaching for more?
I'm, like I said earlier, I'm always looking for more opportunities and more time to play. Right.
Now we're getting into fall, winter. What's on the schedule for Quinn McLoughlin?
Seals, and then high school field practice starts.
Right. Well, let's throw it over to these guys. Shawn, do you have any questions for Quinn?
No, I don't really have anything, but just it sounds like you have a lot on the go, Quinn, and you're really excelling what you're doing. So keep up the good work, buddy.
Mike?
I'll just ask him what he thinks about the Seals off season, their signings and trades and stuff, and does he like the moves they're making? I know we're going to get to that in a bit ourselves, but
I mean, I don't really have, an opinion about what the Seals do. Not my team. I like watching them, but, it's nice seeing them win.
Sorry.
It's nice seeing them win, home team and all, but I don't really have an opinion about the trades or nothing like that.
Right.
Fair enough.
So moving on forward, are you going to be doing anything with the Seals as the season starts and comes along there? I know you work and get shots from some of these guys in practice. Are you still going to be doing stuff like that?
I hope to. I don't see a reason why not.
Right.
If opportunity comes towards me, I'm always going to take it.
Right. Well, I appreciate you coming back and talking about summer, and hopefully we'll get you back on again, and we'll be talking about what you're going to be doing next summer and all the extracurricular stuff that you have done throughout the season. Look forward to keeping up with you through the season.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Say hi to Dad. That was Quinn McLoughlin. He is going to be a great one. He will put in all the work it takes, and I know that he will succeed. This is in the same style as when we had Craig Wendy, who will do anything. He played everywhere to get noticed before he finally got into the NLL. And, I think this is a testament to what we've been talking about over all the weeks, and how U.S. Boxla has really increased itself and really become a really great launching point for a number of players, goalies, etc., and given an opportunity to play in different situations and scenarios. I'd love to see Quinn come up east here, summer ball wise, and get into some of these things here in either in Ontario or again in, if he's going to stay in the States, in Syracuse, Onondaga, things like that, to start seeing different styles, different takes, and different speeds to start building them. Because I think he's one that looks like he will be one that will work and work and work until he gets it and won't let anything throw him off. So I think the sooner you could see something like that is the sooner he makes that huge jump into the next realm. And that's going to be fantastic. I hope he comes up for one of those Rock Elite things and NLL things and stuff like that, because I'd like to see him again. I'd like to see him and Dad, and go have some Chinese food. Always have a good excuse for that.
Definitely.
All right, as we said off the top of the show, we have a CBA. As I told y'all, have faith. And there it is, the official statement from the NLL, NLLPA. They reached agreement on new multi-year collective bargaining agreement. The 2025-26 season starts November 28th. Next phase is free agency, which we are already in the middle of and have had just an absolute boucoon of signings and some head scratchers and a lot of moves that we didn't think we might see that much, but boy. And then, of course, training camps have started this past weekend, and the rest will be starting next weekend. From Brett Frood, who has definitely earned his money as commissioner in the last month. This is a vital time for the NLL, and we are confident that this CBA will have a positive and meaningful impact for all of our constituents, teams, players, and fans. We appreciate tireless efforts of the members of the NLL Players Relations Committee and the NLLPA leadership, both of whom devoted months to detailed good faith negotiations to reach comprehensive transformative agreements. And from Reed Reinhold, who is the NLLPA vice president, this agreement represents a pragmatic path forward, balancing immediate player needs with the long-term health of the game. We remain focused on ensuring players' priorities were met in a way that aligns with the league's broader vision for growth and sustainability. We look forward to moving ahead together under the new CBA. Fantastic news. And how do we celebrate? Well, we celebrate by, holy smokes. There's Chase Fraser. Off he goes to Las Vegas. Oh, well, wait. He brings his best friend, Chris Kluche, with him to Vegas. But wait, they're not finished. There goes Mitch Jones, leaving Philadelphia for Vegas. Oh, don't forget Tony Malcolm on his way to, that's right, Vegas. And this was just the start of things to come, guys. You know, if you look there and think, boy, Vegas just got it nailed. Here goes Vancouver. Here's Reese Callies going over to Vancouver. Here's Shane Simpson going over to Vancouver. Here's Curtis Dixon joining Kurt Molosky and the Vancouver. Here's Jesse King going on over there. And the 2019 Calgary Roughnecks have now appeared in Vancouver Warrior jerseys. Now you say, what's Buffalo doing, man? They lost a couple of their players. Well, of course, they went and made a deal with Saskatchewan, who, by the way, signed just about every other player that they needed to sign. But Mike Triolo is now going over there, and I would say that he will be a fine replacement for, say, Chris Kluche. He's bigger, stronger. And on the other side of what Nanticoke will be doing, so look out, goalies. You got people on both sides of you. So Buffalo might actually have gotten stronger, even though they lost their human highlight reel. Just amazing what's going on in here. You know, like I said, we were teasing Quinn a little bit, but Kyle Rubish is now but 10 minutes away from his home in with the Oshawa Firewolves. So I guess he got tired of the 5-hour flights back and forth. This is just a few of the big names that are going, but there is a whole heap load. A couple of other big names as Nick Rose is coming back to Toronto. Really not a huge surprise there since he was wearing that helmet in Peterborough with the Toronto Rock logo. Kind of a bit of a giveaway. The one that got me scratching my head a little bit was this one. Brendan Bombery. Off he went to Halifax. I didn't see that one coming. But we have a lot to talk about. One that I've been waiting for a while, Parker Pfeiffer, who is a friend of mine, and he is part of the Brooklyn organization of merchants and Brooklyn Lacrosse Club. He's signed with Ottawa as well. So he'll join Eddie Renault and a bunch of the other guys trying to get a few spots on that team. So everybody's looking really good. Toronto today signed Chris Boucher to a couple of year deal too. So everybody has been dipping their toe in there. But man, Mike, talk to me. There has been some absolute holy smokes moments in the last couple of days.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest ones are, to me, the bigger ones are actually the defections from Calgary to Vancouver.
Yeah,
I mean, those are pretty serious and kind of makes you wonder what's going on in Calgary. You know, they still have some decent players on the offense. You know, you could say in a way it's good for them with, you know, some of the older players moving on. Now you can see guys like Tyler Pace and Hayden Dixon, who Hayden Dixon had a phenomenal summer with New West.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to be kind of the 1A, 1B, you know, for the righties. You're going to have Tanner Cook and Braden Maye on the left hand, you know, on the left side.
Right.
You know, so you know, it's maybe it'll be a year away. Maybe they'll surprise everyone and kind of go on a run like we saw Albany do, you know, a couple of years ago. Right.
Let's talk a little bit about Vegas because, you know, we talked about the main signings there, but don't forget they re-signed Terrell Hammer-Jackson, Brandon Goodwin's there, Max Wayne, all these moves that Sean Williams has done, as well as don't forget the coaching staff has changed too. Brett Hickey is their offensive coordinator there too now from Ottawa. And what a forward he was with Toronto and Philadelphia during his playing days. So I think this is a team that has to be taken seriously. I don't know if the goaltending is where they want it to be, but Lanny Kells is a good goalie.
And let's not forget, we just had a young goaltender on the show here. They drafted Caleb Kahn.
And they signed Caleb Kahn too. So
that's
really interesting. That's an interesting move to me. Is they signed Caleb Kahn. They re-signed Justin Giddy. And I mean, yeah, Caleb's young. He's probably going to go through that learning curve, but he's at least probably going to push those older vets.
Right. Here's a question for you, Shawn. Philadelphia. What do they do now? They lost Mitch Jones. Joe Restiteris has not signed yet. I'm not sure at this stage. Will they got both the goalies back? Deacon Knott and Dick Demuth both signed. They took Chris Corbeil back. I didn't expect that, but they tried to slap the franchise tag on Mitch Snoo, and he didn't take it. But again, he hasn't signed yet. But he hasn't signed anywhere else yet either. So. But they've gotten Landon Sinefield, Sam Leclerc, Caden Brennan, Holden Patterson, Caleb Menon, Bo Columbus, Zane Delby, a number of people they've taken over there as well. Evan Messenger, Mitch Armstrong as well.
Mike McCannell signed to Ryan Wagner.
Yeah.
So they're addressing pieces that they need, but they're losing pieces that they didn't need, right? That they should have kept.
Yeah.
Now, do we? Is it the little boy in the dike now? We plug up this hole here, but this hole now springs. So now we got to plug this one in springs.
That's exactly what I was kind of thinking. Is for the last few years we've been harping on. The Philadelphia needs to improve their defense. Philadelphia needs to improve their defense. They're improving their defense, but now they're losing all their forwards, and now they need to improve. Their offense. They've lost, like you said, huge pieces with especially Mitch Jones. That's a huge piece of your offense. And we're still waiting to see what happens with Joe Restiteris, whether he's going to come back or not. And there's still a lot of question marks there. And even with what we've seen with their defense, if it's still not kind of up to snuff, they need to rely on that offense to kind of keep up. And if they don't have those pieces, it could be a very long season for them.
Right. But they also get a couple of players back who were hurt last year. Their transition game gets a little better, Mike?
Yeah, Scott Dominey, and then they signed Eric Fennell. So, I mean, I'm not going to, go all out here and say that, he's going to be Mitch Jones's replacement, but he's going to put up some decent numbers. He's a big body. He's now had a year of play since a major knee injury, so I think you're going to see an uptick in his stats. That first year coming back from an injury like that is always kind of, you're playing, but you're not certain. You still have those thoughts in your head, what about my knee? Is it okay? Am I 100%? He's gone through playing time on two different teams now. And, I think, things are only going to get better for him.
Right.
Yeah. And I felt that was a key signing too, was the Fennell one. But at the same point, that's the thing is he the answer? Like you said, he's had injury issues in the past. Again, it leaves a lot of question marks. And while he is a very good player, I don't know if he's kind of that guy you can really. He's your number one guy, right? Your key piece.
Yeah, that's probably why it's really important that they try to get Restiteris signed if they can. That's something that worries me, because let's not forget that 2 years ago he was kind of the first domino to fall, in Albany's big rebuild. When the last CBA was negotiated, the age at which you could reject the franchise tag was reduced by a year, which suddenly made Restiteris at the time eligible to reject the franchise tag. He did, and he signed for 3 years with Philly. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there's there's some worry, but yeah, I mean they're going to get Scott Dominy back, so that's going to improve the transition
Yeah.
game. Mitch Armstrong's going to be healthy. I think you're going to get a full season of Mike McCannell and hopefully Mitch DeSnew in that transition game. So that that can only help the defense and the goalie.
Right. Well, Shawn, let's talk a bit about Saskatchewan and basically re-signing everybody. They were scary good last year, and again, with the exception of the Triolo trade, pretty much everybody's come back.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah,
The team?
I mean, it's kind of if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? They looked really good last year. I mean, continuality in this case can only be good. And I know we talked a little bit about that Triolo trade. We have to remember Patrick Dodds is still in the equation here somewhere. You got to fit him in that lineup. You still had guys like Levi Anderson. I know we're talking about opposite sides of the ball, but then maybe you're changing which side you're going strong on. You got guys like Levi Anderson, Zawada, who didn't see as much playing time because of something like that. Well, now maybe that opens up that opportunity for those more younger guys. But I mean, yeah, we locked up Adam J, who was the last unrestricted free agent. So they got no guys left that are unrestricted in that sense. And, they picked up Jake Naso, a new deal. So, we got face-off covered. Kostiuk is back behind mistakes again. Unfortunately, we saw Lane Rushka, right? Left, which is unfortunate. Always like to see a hometown kid, but at least he's getting an opportunity somewhere else, which is good to see at least. So I honestly don't have much concerns with the Rush. I think it can only be better that this group is sticking together.
Right. How about Ottawa? Ottawa made a move. They got Hellier over there now, as well as a number of younger signings. And talk to me a bit about their now they have settled up goaltending as well. It's not just Zach Higgins in there either. So, Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say that I'm just neither here nor there on their signings. I think they're addressing the needs that they need to address, and not much more. I think it's obviously it's a much different situation than a team like Vegas that needed to absolutely shake everything up,
right,
and tear a lot down and rebuild. They were close. There were some games that they would have liked to have back last year. Others that they'd like to completely forget. So I think the defense is going to be a little more stout than it was last year, and that can only help Higgins, as kind of we saw in his time in Philly when he was setting records for saves, which meant he was seeing far too many shots.
Right.
So
yeah.
Seeing someone like Fennell go though is that's a little concerning. That's a big body.
It is, but you have to remember how it's just so difficult to crack that lefty side of the lineup when you have Jeff Teat, Riley O'Connor, and Larson Sundown. It's just about anyone who's coming in. If it's not a Mitch Jones or a Jesse King, or Josh Byrne, then they're going to be kind of sitting fourth on the depth chart. Yeah, so,
and I find interesting, just kind of maybe a little bit, is the Zach Haywire's signing. I mean, he had a fantastic year in Calgary. I think he could be a nice complement in that offense.
Yeah, he would. He would fit right in on that side.
And again, another big loss for Calgary, right?
Right.
Yeah. But see, I'm surprised it's taken so long for him really to catch on, because he really has great summers one year after the next, and he just never seems to be able to catch a steady position where he's at. So hopefully this time he will. Colorado's got a couple of big signings in there also that They got me and some young guys too. One's a friend of mine in Nate Woods, and great transition, great scorer in transition. And I think he's going to help out because I don't think they've really replaced losing Capito a bunch of years ago now. And this is gonna help them out. They also shored up the goaltending, and Nathan Whitten is signed up there as well. So they've made a number of moves also to keep things going. What do you think about
they re-signed Hope, they re-signed Jordan Gillis, they re-signed Tim Edwards. This was kind of a quiet signing, but Aaron Woods signed with them.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was going to say, Aaron Woods and Brian
goal.
Cameron, both guys who played for the Rock, actually looked really good. But as Gary pointed out many times, there's just no room on the roster for them on the Rock. So I think that those were really under the radar signings.
Yeah, I'd say Caleb Martin also signed with Colorado, and he had a great summer though in Sound, and he's had great years in ALL. So we always hope that he can land in there. But of course, Dylan Ward is still part of the equation there. So until he hangs him up.
And they have Andrew Q now. So they traded Connor Kelly for Andrew Q. So now you've got, and I realize they're, they're not going to have Eli McLaughlin for at least half the season, if not more. But but they now you've got Q, you've got Connor Robinson, assuming he re-signs if his contract is up. I know they've re-signed Thomas Vela on that left side, and you're gonna. I was
gonna say, let's not forget the trade for Dylan McIntosh too.
Right. They also signed Jameson Bucktooth also out of St. Catharines Junior A, and if there's an outside shot for him to make it, of course the lineage is there, and he's a fantastic forward. So whether or not he can crack the lineup, I don't know, but he definitely will be there down the road. So the future is now.
So I mean, on the other side, they're going to have, they have potentially, Woods. You have
Braden Saris too.
Yep, and Tyson Gibson is still there, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
I'm not sure if he's a free agent at the moment, but if they re-sign them, now they've got the first and the third pick from the 2019 draft.
Yeah.
On their team,
right?
Yeah.
No, we also
actually drafted.
We've talked a lot about CJ Kirst going to Toronto, but Cole Kirst signed with Halifax, also. So, not a bad little scoop there by the
Thunder. And I mean, you'd have to think he's going to get a little more playing time now with the injury to Randy Stotts. I think that's part of the reason they signed Brendan Bomberry. So, and I know we've talked about it off air that, some of these things are almost kind of circular because you're going to see, hey, this guy goes and signs with another team. That means there's an opening on the team he left, and, chances for guys to move up or chances for them to get, other pieces. We talked about Joe Terrence earlier. I mean, how many? I mean, what do you think?
I still think he's got a year or two left in the tank.
Yeah, he still has some in the tank, I think.
I think so too. But how would? He played last year for Albany and Ottawa. So he get traded mid-season, but he had some playing time. So and then so he's gotten a season on that surgically repaired knee now. So that's always a plus. But we talked about San Diego trading Rob Hellier to Ottawa. You think there's any chance they might go ahead and get the most prolific American scorer in NLL history and Joe Terrence to replace him?
They're going to make an offer.
Oh yeah, you'd have.
They're going to make an offer.
Yeah,
and that's they're both a similar style of play.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
Again, it's Calgary that worries me because they brought back Carson Moyer. They got Noah Manning they signed, but I haven't seen, other than losing players, I haven't seen them gain anything anywhere.
Yeah, and we've talked about guys like Pace and that, but again, I go back to you have that real kind of leader, that number one on offense right now. Again, Pace, you got Hayden Dixon, but I don't see a guy who's like that guy you can fall back on if you're down a goal and need it in the last second.
Mm-hmm. And is the goaltending strong enough to withstand the barrage that they're going to take in the West alone, let alone anybody else coming in there?
Yeah, that's that that's a good question. I think their defense, and I guess when you look at it overall, their transition is definitely going to suffer too, because in recent years now they've lost Shane Simpson, Zach Currier. I believe they traded Ethan Ticehurst. So, at this point, they're almost kind of leaning a lot on, guys like Eli Salama, Harrison Matsuoka.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I think that's the way I have a feeling that's the direction they're kind of going in, transition wise.
And well, let's take a step back and let's we got to recognize that Eli Salama is a top 15 defenseman in this league, maybe top 10.
Right.
Yeah.
So the fact that he hasn't.
Well, they got Riley Lowen back today. They signed him and Jordan Vincent as well. So
there's there's
Loan adds a little bit to that, but
yeah.
Buffalo, on the other hand, man, they just signed Max Spanger again, so let's hope he stays healthy this year. Hopefully, he's still going to be coming on the show in the next week or two as well, before we lose him to training camp and all the fun in there. But talk to me about Buffalo. We expect Matt Vince to come back because, well, who wouldn't want to try for a four-peat? Whether you succeed or not, who cares? And most of his buddies are back, with the exception of Fraser and Kluche. And the scuttlebutt was, that Buffalo with the cap now was only going to be able to keep, say, Fraser or Vince, one or the other, and Fraser's gone. So that should open the door wide for Vince. But you have Konstantopoulos, you have Orleman, you signed Shognosh. So you have three goalies already on there, and Vince. Is there such thing as too much of a good thing?
competition never a bad thing, right?
Never a bad thing, but one is who's going to be on the bench. We would assume that's Orleman, since he's been there already the last couple of years. But is it time for Konstantopoulos to start getting the reps? He's had 2 Minto Cups now, finals. He's made huge strides forward. Is it time for him to get big league reps?
I mean, it might be, but I mean, at what point?
It's a nice problem to have.
Yeah.
At what point are you saying, "Oh, hey, Matt, come take a seat on the bench," just because we got to get the young guys some reps?
This is the big issue of having an aging goalie, right?
Yeah,
this is the big issue of having an aging goalie.
It's 12-12 with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter against Toronto. So.
That's your issue with an aging goalie, right? Is it's hard to have a succession plan because that succession plan is not going to get real live wire shots.
Well, that now brings me to the other thing that got to my mind was, Toronto signed Nick Rose to a couple of year deal. They signed Troy Holochuk to a couple of year deal. Where does that leave Goa? He's still part of the team too, Goa Abrams.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't see him sitting in left press spots.
Exactly, but I'm sure Goa's not shooting to be just on the practice roster.
That's what I mean.
I mean, there's I think we're gonna see a number of good competitions. I mean, we might even see it in Philly with Nick Damoud and Deacon Knott.
Yeah,
just given the summer that Deacon Knott had. I mean, Damoud had a great summer too. He lifted the President's Cup. So,
yeah, he was the MVP at that. So, that kind of competition is going to be great. But Deacon also had a great President's Cup.
Yeah.
And with the exception of the finals against a much more experienced Snake Island team, he looked fantastic during that, and he looked fantastic in the Senior B run to the championship. And you heard Wayne Cawley, Hall of Fame goaltender, talk about, there's nothing but absolute star power headed for this kid when he actually gets a chance to be the guy. So, just saying, of all things. Yeti makes a good point too. Rochester's sitting solid. They don't really have to do a whole lot right now. They made their move. And as long as they stay healthy.
And some of these teams, let's not forget that some of these teams could just maybe be waiting on guys to get released. Who just, that if you're Calgary, you're probably going to be watching, a month from now, how things play out in a place like Rochester, where there's probably too many forwards and just not enough spots for all the forwards they have signed. And once there's a cut, you're going to say, okay, hey, come on over.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. Georgia. They lost a piece in Brendan Bombury, Andrew Q. Lots of depth.
Offensively, yes. I think they do. Certainly if they re-sign Seth Oakes, you have Richie Connell, Torrin Eccleston, who are probably going to get a lot more playing time this year than they did last year, and we saw some flashes of greatness from both of them last year for Georgia in their limited playing time. So, I'm not overly concerned maybe with those losses. I mean, no one wants to lose a guy like Andrew Q.
Yeah.
No, nor do you want to lose a guy like Brendan Bombury.
I was going to say that when that trade, just playing devil's advocate a little bit, you get Connor Kelly, which no, he's not Andrew Q. Let's get that out of the way right now. But I think that's a guy who, if you can get the playing time, he could be a very good player. I think he was just lacking the floor time in Colorado. We saw, flashes of brilliance with him in Colorado. I think it's just kind of like a Zach Mann situation where, just he needs a chance somewhere.
Slow progression. Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like he performed, as well as he performed in Albany, he performed even better in Colorado. So it's only been kind of trending upward for him. So, and I mean, he's going to be playing alongside Lyle Thompson and Miles Thompson and,
I can only benefit him. Yeah.
So that's going to be.
I would say if there is a riff for this, I don't see it. And I am back by the dressing rooms and around the team. And I see nothing but camaraderie on that team. So, of course, being a professional, Hutch would love to get into more games. But I think you put team first. Remember, it's front of the jersey before back of the jersey. And if he has an opportunity, he'll take it. And if he doesn't, he won't. But, the way that team is set, and as Brad McCulley said when he was on the show, this looks a lot like the Buffalo team that was primed to win the first championship of the three. And it's got that kind of feeling around it. And last year when they started making that move, I really thought that they had another round in them. And it just wasn't. But every year since they put this group together, Dan Carey has been able to put together another piece here, another piece there, another thing here, another thing there. Health has been the big thing as well. They're healthy. They have a lot of weapons, and they still have a couple of guys outstanding that need to be signed or need to be going elsewhere. But it's the core of that team is really, really strong. And I think that this is going to be an exciting year for Rochester and their fans.
Yeah. Actually, just going back to that question too, you mentioned health. I think that's just the big thing with Hartley is when he's on, he's great, but we know his health issues. I think that's really Hutch's role right there. Is if something happens to Hartley, we have a solid backup we can rely on.
He's been working hard.
I was going to say not necessarily just a solid backup. I mean, I would argue he's the best backup goaltender in the league.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't deny that. Yeah.
The only arguments that I might entertain are probably Deacon Knott and Drew Hutchison.
Right. Are we reading more into this than we need to, with an unboxed game going into Edmonton and the Roughnecks and Swarm playing in there? I'm hearing all this stupid stuff about the Swarm are going. They're not going anywhere.
We're way too much. I have a lot of opinions on this one. Unless the Oilers are going to be involved, it's not going to happen. Right. Period. That's the end of the story. They screwed the Rush out of Edmonton. That's a fact. They wouldn't let them hang banners, do any promotional. They wouldn't even let them have private box seats in that arena. The Oilers want to run this if they're going to be involved. If it's not owned by the Oilers, it's not going to happen. Period.
Yeah. I'm just curious how we got this game in the first place going over there. Like, I would figure they would put it in someplace that they have a much better chance. I would have thought if they're going to put it in Canada, put it in Winnipeg.
Yeah, probably a lot better spot, in my opinion.
Do they have an unboxed team in Winnipeg?
I don't think they do.
I don't think they do, but why not?
So that's part of the problem.
Yeah.
Why not get one?
And I don't want to go on the Edmonton fans. I mean, there were some great fans over there in Edmonton when the Rush were there, but it's the politics of it right now is that unless a certain ownership is going to be involved, it's not going to happen.
Right.
And that's why I said as soon as I was in box thing, I thought, oh, did anyone tell the Oilers?
Well, we got a box program in Tampa. Why not throw one in there and try that again? I don't see that catching on either. I remember the Orlando Titans, and I even have in part of those retro games, I have some games from Orlando, and boy, oh boy, is it sparse. You had Matt Vince as a goalie back then too, young Matt Vince, and he had some pretty good teams. And in the year or two that they were there, and it was sparse. And remember, New York moved there. That was the breath of fresh air, and then they went. That was the end of that. Another not thought out move. So that's why when I saw Tampa as part of the Unbox program, I was like, yeah, okay, I get that we want to put it in places that don't know, but I can't. Again, I said it off air. I was when I was talking with Quinn was hubs. We got to do hubs. I've talked about it on the show. Hub, Chicago. Of course, not where the Blackhawks play because the rent would be like doing where the Leafs play. That would be silly. But there are enough minor league arenas that are 8,000 to 10,000 that would work for a resurgence of a Chicago team. Again, O'Hare Airport, a hub, easy for people to get to, easy for players to get to. The players would like to be there. St. Louis comes to mind. I know every time they try Baltimore, it doesn't work, but Baltimore comes to mind since it was one of the founding places of Mill and NLL. It just makes sense to keep things in the U.S. where people know the game. And I've said this before too. It's about not having to teach people the game right away. You have Unboxed for that to teach them the game. You can't just go, okay, Unboxed, we're putting a game. You have to cultivate that into a love. And then you can put a game there. And then if it works, this is for down the road. But if you're looking at expansion, you need to go to places where people already know the game so that that poor owner who's putting out the money has an opportunity to break even and actually get people into the game who know the game. Then work with the youth programs or develop youth programs so that you can build your fan base for years. It really isn't rocket science, man. There's not MIT equations into this. But everybody's missing a point, and everybody's trying to give me, these big calculus equations, when really it's economics 101. Go to a place that they have a want, fill that need with the team, and build towards each other's strengths. And then develop with the youth so that you have a long-term fan base, and you don't sell one ticket, you sell 5 tickets because you bring the family, because the kid's interested, and he's going to drive the parents nuts until they go to the game. He, she, them, it. Or they. And that's how that works. And they tell 2 friends, and they tell 2 friends, and so on, and so on, and you know how the commercial goes. Now, yes, you do have social media as something we didn't have years ago to try and help bolster this, but you can't rely totally on that. You have to do the grassroots groundwork programs, something Mark Millen had talked about on my show a couple of years ago, about how we spend all this time and money on club teams and above, junior A and above, and all these guys who want to be professionals. And we put the money in and develop and put it under the country logo and rah, and here's the gold medal and all. What about the kids who are in school who love the game, who want to do other things with their lives but love the game? They get to go too, right? We get to cultivate their desire to want to go and see all the other guys who are playing. It's called fan base. Well, shouldn't we be spending that money on grassroots and house league programs where you're not looking at making the national team, where you're not looking at making the tournament team? You're looking at playing on the weekend with your buddies in school and in intramural leagues, and build it from there. And as the love goes, then you're talking about the NLL with your buddies, and then all the kids are getting involved, and then you have to start getting the things for tickets, and then you get all the other things, and then you get all the excitement. It's not a difficult equation, but yet we make it as though it's, my God, Einstein has to come up with this thing, and he's got to talk to Isaac Newton, and together maybe they'll put this thing and get Einstein in there, and everybody will put this all together, and maybe we'll come up with a big formula with the big gloves. We don't need it. Basic economics with a love of sport.
And marketing. Brought it over again, and it goes back to what you're saying. And I include, the grassroots levels with the marketing, making sure, those kids can get in. And because what have we seen over the years with the teams that don't market properly? The Panther cities in particular, they just go by the wayside. If they actually put an effort in, I can guarantee you there could have been something there. But
well, it's even taking a look at some of the teams that disappeared for reasoning that wasn't part of that, and it was just bad ownership or guys who lost interest or didn't make money right away and whatever. Montreal comes to mind. The original Ottawa team comes to mind. Then, of course, you had some places logistically that didn't make sense. Portland could have been a success as well, and they had great teams. Charlotte was, again, another one that kind of was a head scratcher. Why we're not looking at Detroit again, I don't know. What a history and what a lineage, and what a way to go back and bring part of that lineage of the Turbos back. And who in Buffalo wouldn't want to have a repeat of a Detroit Buffalo kind of rivalry, or Philadelphia and Detroit, if there's a Philadelphia team? Doesn't work if it's a Laval team. And sorry, but
Or imagine if that Philly team moves to Detroit. Jeez.
Hey, there's a thought. There's a thought. Nobody's talked about that. Wouldn't that be something? That would be for Philly 4.0. And they're going to come and gain revenge over every team that's all over the league that's used to be Philly. It's hard. You need a map now and an atlas. Try and keep that up. But that's my rant of the week is we don't have to go through all that. Simple, basic economics and marketing, along with the social media using today's technology. I love what Oshawa is doing. Oshawa got the city involved. They had a big signing with them. So the city is now, part and parcel of this thing. So you have that as part of your anchor. That helps. If the city is in your corner, it's probably a good reasoning that you're going to stick around. They've used social media. They've used the players that are from around there. Dyson Williams, mostly. They signed Kyle Rubish, who's 10 minutes from there. Well, you know that he's going to be doing stuff in the neighborhood. Already the Clarington area, the Peterborough area, Whitby area, all of them are talking about this. People who haven't gone to games in years, I know, have tickets already for the 28th of November. So that's how that's done. And they will be a success. To all the naysayers, they will be a success. That may hurt the Toronto Rock, as Jamie has said many times. That even may hurt Ottawa a little bit. I don't think too much, but it is a 3-hour difference from where they are. But still, that team will be a success. And it's funny because Frank and I had talked about this with Sikevich when he was on the show, when Toronto first moved, are they thinking about Oshawa as a destination because they have arenas that's ready and it's a perfect spot and distance for everything to be far enough away and everything. Sure enough, no. Where'd they go? Oshawa. Maybe we know a thing or two. Don't tell anybody. But, that's how it's done. But again, things for the youth, programs for the youth. Let them build, let them come. Saskatchewan's a great example of that, from nothing to where it is now. And I remember being in there a couple of years back with Evan and his kids playing in the programs and stuff like that when the kids were off school. And, run by Keenan, run by a couple of the other Rush players. And the kids ate it up. And where are these kids now? Well, it's 6-7 years later, and they're playing in bigger squads.
Program, yeah.
Some of them are over into the senior B stuff now. But it all came from building grassroots.
Yeah, and that's where I teeter a little bit, Gary, when you said you have to go in places that need to know lacrosse. Like, I look at it like a place like Winnipeg. I think if it's done correctly, you don't necessarily need the people that know lacrosse, but to get in those schools, you can just put it in front of them. Just put it in front of them, because that's what happened in Saskatchewan. Put it in front of them. People are like, holy crap, this is awesome. We got to keep going to this.
Right. Like I said, Winnipeg's got a big thing with Manitoba lacrosse and have a lot of junior and a lot of leagues already. So it wouldn't be new for them over there either. So that works.
And I think it's the same with Saskatchewan. I mean, they had a good minor lacrosse program. It's not in BC or Ontario. It's not going to get the prestige or seeing the same amount of competition that is anywhere else. But it was there. People knew the game already.
Right. I would love it if ALL will finally go into the middle of the country as well. And they're already in the West and they're already in the East. If they would get it in either Alberta or in Manitoba, where it would be easy for either of those two provinces to, not easy per se, because winters are brutal, but you would have somewhere for the mid-Canada provinces to go in the winter and not hang up their sticks without having to bill it all the way across one end of the other or the other of the country.
Well, and that's the other thing is the Winnipeg, y'all might already have the built-in rivalries because you're going to have one with Saskatchewan, for sure. You're going to have a rivalry probably with Calgary as well. Like, you've got the built-in rivalries right there.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's going to be the same fan base as the CFL because the CFL ends just as the NLL starts, and the NLL finishes just as the CFL starts. And around in Canada, it is usually the same fan bases that are in at Warriors games, at Roughnecks games, at Rush games, if they travel in from Regina. And who's the best ones to travel? People from Saskatchewan. They'll travel 8 hours for a football game. They'll travel. Just like Argos fans wind up at, Argos and Ticat fans wind up at Toronto Rock games. Now you're going to get ones that are probably Montreal that are going to go to Ottawa and going to go to maybe even Oshawa games because it's still within driving distance. Because it's no further for, going from Ottawa to Oshawa than it is for me to drive to Rochester for the evening and come back. Yeah. I do that quite often. but I'm insane. But that's okay. So there's all kinds of things. I look forward. There's still a number of players that need to be re-signed. There's still some big names out there. The Toronto Rock have only signed, I think, 2 of their big names, and that was Boucher today and Rose the other day. You still have guys like Cree out there. There's still, I think, Corey Small is still out there. A few others are still out there. And what they're going to do, Dan Craig is still out there. So the thing that this makes me a little bit curious is with these names that they're not signing anywhere else. Because I would assume that a big body like Brad Cree would get some attention. Same thing with Mitch DeSnoo. Does he come back to Toronto? Like people had suspected? Or does he stay there in Philly?
I mean, that was something I was thinking about when, we were discussing Calgary and just a lot of their defections was, okay, hey, lost some pieces on offense, lost some pieces in transition, but what if they signed, say, Brad Cree and Mike Manley?
Well,
Would you look at that team a lot differently to go with Eli Salama
right?
And Matt Suoka?
Yeah.
Well, Manley is signed, right? Georgia signed Manley.
Did they re-sign him?
Today.
I thought he was still free.
Today.
But Capito's still a free agent.
He is.
So imagine he goes to Calgary. Imagine
Vegas also signed Sheldon Burns. So he's back over there. So, and he got his toe wet again in the last season, but in the summer he played with the Oakville Rock for a while too. So he's back, primed, ready to go. So interesting. But Riley Lowen in with Calgary as well, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
So still some things that are up in the air. It'll all be sorted out, I'm pretty sure, by this week. And then we'll just have to see who's getting cut from training camps, for who's going to fall where, and then where to get your ALL tickets. Because there's going to be a lot of really great players again in ALL. And I still think that we need to see an expansion. I know it's crazy because we're losing teams and trying to find teams, and there needs to be at least one more team at the moment.
Done right, absolutely, yeah.
Yep. And I don't know if you get in 2, do we go back to divisions? Depending where you're putting them.
Yeah.
Maybe if you get 2, but not 1.
Right. Just a thought, because I still don't understand how Buffalo Toronto only plays once this year. Doesn't make any sense. And it's here. It's in Toronto. Doesn't make any sense. Why jip yourself out of a guaranteed sellout? Just things that don't make sense. I thought with this alignment here, every team would see each other twice, and then have a couple of the big ones would see each other a third time, or everybody sees each other once and the big ones get a second one, or whatever it is. I thought that's the way it was supposed to be working.
Well, I mean, I think it was, but then you run into the problem of you can't do it that way every single year because you have lopsided strengths of schedule.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's certain ones that need to be, Saskatchewan, Calgary need to be done twice.
Yeah.
1-1. The Buffalo, Toronto needs to be done twice. 1-1. I would even so far go now as San Diego, Vancouver needs to go twice. 1-1. Those are ones that the rest of them, they can go all over the place. If Philadelphia was more viable, Philadelphia, Halifax would be one that we a little bit more, because it's close and you can make a good rivalry out of it. But, I guess baby steps. We have a season. Let's be happy about that.
Yeah, exactly.
We were sitting there still going. So we have a season. So let's rejoice in that for now. And stay tuned, because as we have been getting it up to date for you pretty much at the correct time as they're putting it out, we're putting it out to you. I'm really proud of our team and how quickly we were able to turn around most of the signings, if not all of the signings. And it's been out on Facebook, on Instagram, even on Twitter for a bunch of it that we've been able to get to everybody. So stick with us. Again, we are your Costco Lacrosse, your one-stop shop. Remember, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, Thread, and YouTube, as well as on www.streampunkentertainment.com for all your lacrosse needs, wants, and up-to-the-minute information. Alrighty. That'll bring us over to last words. Mike, let's start with you with last words this week.
I think my caption says it all. Obviously thrilled that the CBA has been negotiated, and we've had all the free agent signings that
Yeah,
we've
he's right
had.
on that too.
So
we need another PBLA.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's plenty more to come with the signings.
Another great idea.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sorry, Mike.
No, it's all right. Like I said, I'm just looking forward to more signings. I mean, there's plenty of big names still out there that may not necessarily stay with their teams. I mean, that's one thing we all kind of talked about off air was, with all the delays, we kind of thought there was going to be a lot of people staying put. Yeah. And it seems like that's not happening to the extent we were expecting.
Right. Shawn, last words to you.
Yeah, more or less along the same lines. Glad we have a CBA and we're kind of moving on things. And actually, that was the point I was about to make. Was I'm actually kind of shocked at how many moves we've seen this free agency, because with free agency being pushed back in that short time frame between free agency and training camps, I actually really thought we were going to see a lot of guys just staying put, and we saw probably the exact opposite. And it's been an absolute whirlwind. And like you guys said, there's more names still out there. And I can't wait to see how this all works out.
Yeah. One bit of not so great news is Ron Balls. He passed away this week. World Lacrosse deeply mourns the loss of European Lacrosse Federation President Ron Balls, leader, builder, and lifelong champion of sport, who passed away at the age of 80. Former Secretary General of World Lacrosse, Ron's lifelong commitment to lacrosse spanned decades and continents. He played an instrumental role in advancing lacrosse across Europe and around the world. His leadership and steady presence helped shape the global community we know today. A pillar of international lacrosse family, Ron devoted much of his life to ensuring the sport continued to grow and thrive in new parts of the world. His contributions were immeasurable, and he leaves behind a remarkable legacy of service to our sport. So we wish the very best to Ron's family, and Godspeed. To bring us back into the topic, though, just before we go, is that I'm looking forward to seeing the enthusiasm that we've witnessed in the last little bit of fan bases, with teams working with fan bases, and to build this to the next level now. Now they have a 4-year or 5-year agreement, opt out after 4 or opt out after 5. And that takes us through Olympics. So now it's full speed ahead for everything and everyone to get forward and get correct, to really let this thing explode come Olympics and beyond. And if everybody is working on the same page, we don't have to worry about all the other things, then I see nothing but great things. But I need to see more, as I've been saying, grassroots from everywhere. And I hope that anytime that the league is looking at things, not just on box, but everywhere, is that we're looking at what you're doing for the grassroots of the league and how to build fan bases for sustainability for years and years to come. So with that being said, I want to thank Quinn McLoughlin for coming on the show and talking to us again as grassroots and building up into being one of the next ones that we're going to be talking about with congratulating him on wherever he's signing. You know, putting in the work, doing the time, and doing all the travel that comes along with it, and loving every second of it. That's the character we talk about, right? So I also want to thank everybody for all their hard work. Again, with everything going crazy this week, and again, us being the Costco Lacrosse, your one-stop shop, and always having all of our fingers on the pulse of the situation. So remember, we're here every week at 8 p.m. Eastern, Sunday nights. Please join us again next week, but also stay with us all week long. As the news is happening, we're getting it to you accurately and on time. Until we meet next week, remember, keep your sticks high, keep your spirits higher. And until we get together next week, have a great week, everybody.